Hey again, welcome back for another week. We are doing some field cultivation today. You can see this Williams toolbar tine weeder behind me. I've showed it a couple episodes ago, but now you're going to see it in action, and I'll show you the field that we are going to cultivate. It's the bok choy and the dandelion greens and kale and the backfield that we showed you previously. So I'm going to hop on the tractor and then we'll take a look at the field back there. So here we are. I just trialed 2 beds of this, and you can see the beds behind it of greens compared to the bed I just went through. This Williams tine weeder is awesome because, like I described before, these tines, they wiggle. And so when you drop the tractor and drive, they kind of just scratch the surface. You can kind of see the lines where they went, but they don't scratch deep enough to uproot any of these plants. So you can see we planted these 2 weeks ago, and even if they get knocked over a bit, they're still rooted enough to stay in. It's recommended not to do this before 10 days to 2 weeks, and also depending on moisture, because the plants need to get rooted enough so that when you go over them and blind cultivate, they don't get ripped out of the ground. I am also laying a bit of fertilizer. I'm top dressing them on top. So this fertilizer hopper, it's filled with a custom blend we got from Fertrell right now, based on our a soil test that we took. And I'm just going over before I tine weed, I'm dropping the fertilizer, and then as it drives, the tine weeder just tines it in. So it's a really good setup. I love it. I'm going to do the rest of this field. You can see there's a bunch of greens behind here, and then I will show you what it looks like afterwards. Here's a better view of the field before cultivating as well, and then you can see where the darker paths are. That's where I have cultivated. This would be really easy work if we did not have to cover every single one of these beds with row covers and hoops. So what we did before cultivating, what you're seeing me do now, is remove all the hoops off the beds and pull off all the row cover. And then once we cultivate, we'll have to put it immediately back on, just because we have really bad flea beetle pressure here. And the flea beetles, what they do is they eat the leaves, so they have a bunch of holes in them and they're not sellable. So we have to cover everything in the brassica family, and it just makes a little work for us in the spring. So here they are now. You can see it's all scraped around the base of these. There's still some weeds that will remain. It's not 100% effective, obviously, especially with how well established the weeds are. But you can see all the plants are, they're still tucked in there. Nothing really got ripped out, maybe a couple casualties. And now Mandy and I are going to cover everything back up, and we'll show you what it looks like. This is just mechanical cultivation saves so much time. This took me, 20 minutes, and it would have taken us half a day to hoe all this. So really worth it. So here's our field after we put the hoops back on the crops and put this floating row cover over it. We use the thinnest, lightest type of row cover for these crops because they really don't like too much heat, and especially when it starts to get a little warmer and the days longer, it can get really hot under these row covers. It increases the temperature several degrees. So we try to use the lightest row cover we can, and we try to overhead irrigate just so we can really get this area super wet and cooled down, because these crops really like a cooler temperature. So that's it for today. Thanks for going on our cultivation journey with us. We'll take these off again in a couple weeks and go over them one more time, and hopefully by then they'll be big enough that we don't have to put the row covers back on, but we'll see how bad the pest pressure is then. All right, till next week.